Hello and welcome to IP Study video lectures. And today we are going to discuss chapter 7 from grade 8 social science, and the name of the chapter is Socio-Religious Reforms. And in this chapter we are going to cover few important topics like India in the 19th century, socio-religious reforms, women and reforms, challenging the caste system, and lastly the fight against untouchability. So now let us discuss the chapter. So we all know India was under the foreign rule, or it was ruled by foreign rulers for a long period of time. It started with the arrival of the rulers of the Delhi Sultanate, continued in the Mughal period, and then lastly the arrival of British. And these rulers, these foreign rulers, were tyrant, and under these rulers the Indian society, they suffered. Okay, these rulers, they not only exploited the resources of India, but they also influenced and changed the tradition and culture of Indian society. And the most miserable condition was of the women and the marginalized group under the foreign rule. So let us see the first topic of the chapter, India in the 19th century. So now the effect of the Western culture and the influence and the knowledge or understanding that India was defeated by the foreign rulers or in the hands of foreign power, it actually led to an awakening. Okay, it resulted in awakening among the masses. So there were many people who actually were educated, and they actually saw that India has a future. Okay, so now it was evident to them that the big country like India was actually defeated by few foreign rulers, or we can say few people from the foreign land. They came and they conquered Indian territory. Okay, and how were they able to do so? Because the answer is because of the deep-rooted weakness in the Indian society. So the reformers and the futurists who actually wanted the better of India, they started analyzing what were the weakness in the Indian society, and they started working toward eliminating those weakness in the Indian society. Okay, so let us see the condition of women at that time. So the position or condition of women was very miserable at that time. Okay, they were victim of various evil, or we can say horrifying customs in the Indian society. Women were victims of parda system, child marriage. Okay, they were actually forced to do sati or devdasi system. So women actually suffered in the Indian society. So not only this, women were forced to marry at a very young age, and they were forced to follow the household tradition of their husbands. And if the husband dies, or in case of the death of the husband, the women were pressurized or forced to do sati pratha. And what is sati pratha? The widow of the husband, she had to immolate herself in the funeral pyre of the husband. That means she had to die in the fire of the funeral pyre. Okay, so this was the sati pratha. So now, realizing the evil of these customs and rituals, many reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Dayanan Saraswati, so all these, they worked and campaigned toward uplifting the women in the society, Indian society. Okay, so they realized that in order to improve the condition of Indian society, it was necessary that the status and position of women had to be improved. Okay, so as such, these reformers, they started to establish many reform associations in different part of the country who worked for the welfare as well as upliftment of the women. So now let us discuss the second topic, that is the socio-religious reform. Okay, so by the second half of the 19th century, many reform association or group had actually emerged or were established by many social reformers. Okay, and these group advocated and campaigned for the growth or upliftment of women, and they also tried to eliminate the inhuman or evil practices that was prevalent in the Indian society. So first one is the Brahmo Samaj. So it was established by Raja Ram Mohan Roy in 1828 in Kolkata, and this Samaj, it fought against the doctrines, evil doctrines of Hinduism like the idol worship or even sati pratha. It also fought against the caste discrimination, and it believed that everyone should be treated equally. Okay, this Brahmo Samaj, they also fought to raise the status of women. Okay, and Raja Ram Mohan in fact fought and preached regarding the widow remarriage. He was in favor that widows should be remarried, they should be given a second chance. Okay, and this Samaj, it campaigned for the rights of the woman, including the right to inheritance and property. Now comes the Veda Samaj. So Veda Samaj was set up in 1864 by Sridharulu Naidu and Kesab Chandra Sen. And this Veda Samaj, it was inspired by the Brahmo Samaj of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Okay, it criticized the caste system that was prevalent in Hindu society, and it also fought against the superstition in the orthodox Hindu society. All the evil superstition that was prevalent in Hindu society, it fought against that we should not follow this superstition. Okay, and lastly, it advocated in the belief that one supreme God. Now comes Prarthana Samaj. So Prarthana Samaj was established in Bombay by Dr. Atmaram Pandurang. Okay, Atmaram Pandurang in 1867. And two important or popular member of this group was R.G. Bhandakar and Justice Mahadev Govind Ranadev. So these two were the two important members. Okay, so this Prarthana Samaj, they fought against the caste system, and they fought to eliminate the caste system. They fought for the upliftment of women. They fought for the spread of education among the women, and they also encouraged widow remarriage and also the spread of modern education in India. Now comes Satyasodhak Samaj. So it was established by Jyotirao Phule in 1873. Okay, and important characteristic of this was people belonging to different religion could actually be a member of this Samaj. That means its membership was open to people from different religious background. Okay, and this Samaj, it fought against the caste system, it fought to eliminate the caste system, and also to uplift the people from oppressed group or class or the lower caste. Now Arya Samaj. In 1875, Arya Samaj was established by Swami Dayanand Saraswati, and he gave the slogan "Back to the Vedas." Okay, and this Samaj, Arya Samaj, it actually campaigned for the women reform and also the women education in Indian society. Lastly comes the Ramakrishna Mission. In 1897, Swami Vivekananda established this Ramakrishna Mission. He was the disciple of Swami Ramakrishna Paramahansa, and this society or this mission, it actually campaigned for the growth, individual growth through literacy, health and spiritual awakening. Now the next topic is women and reforms. Now the visionaries and all the futurists of India, they realized that in order to change the society, the condition or the position of women has to be improved. As such, no reform would be effective if the position of women are not improved. As such, they fought to eliminate those social evil customs and tradition that was prevalent in Hindu society or Indian society at that period. So now firstly, the burning of sati or prohibition of sati. So now during the 19th century, the practice of sati was very prevalent. As I already discussed, it is a practice where the widow has to die in the fire of the funeral pyre of the husband, right? So now Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he fought against sati pratha. He said that this is not the correct tradition or custom that we should be following. It's a wrong tradition, and because of his effort, sati was banned in 1829. So the then Governor General William Bentinck, he, with the effort of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, passed an act prohibiting the sati pratha. Okay. Now comes the widow remarriage. So the condition of widows at that time, I have already discussed, was very miserable. Okay, even if they were not forced to do sati pratha, they were not allowed to participate or attend any functions because they were seen as inauspicious or unlucky. Okay, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was an important social reformer who fought for the rights of the widow to get remarried. Okay, so he even used the Shastra or take the help of Shastra in order to show that the widow remarriage was not prohibited or condemned in the Hindu Shastras. As a result, Widow Remarriage Act was passed in 1856, and in the same year, the first Hindu widow remarriage also took place, and he also played a very important role in that marriage. Now comes education for the girls. So, there were many reformers who actually campaigned to promote education and to uplift women through education. And some of these are Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Dayanand Saraswati, Jyotirao Phule, and Kandukuri Virsalingam. Okay, so now first let us read about the role of Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. So Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was interested in educating the girls. He believed that education could actually uplift the women or the girls. So when he was made the special inspector of school in 1855, he opened many schools for girls. But this step or this initiative by Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was not appreciated or liked by the authorities as well as many conservative people from the society. As a result, he resigned from this post and he left the job. After leaving the job, he established many girls' schools by himself in order to promote education among the girls. Another active reformer is Swami Dayanand Saraswati. He was the founder of Arya Samaj. Okay, and Arya Samaj campaigned and worked to promote education among the girls and also established many schools for girls in different parts of India. Now comes Jyotirao Phule. He was a very important reformer from Maharashtra. So Jyotirao Phule and his wife Savitribai Phule, they started a girls' school for the girls belonging to lower caste. And by 1851, Phule and his wife, they were running 3 schools where more than 150 girls from a lower caste were studying. So now in this South India, Kandukuri Virsalingam was an important reformer. He campaigned for the education for girls. He also worked to promote education among the girls, and because of this contribution, he is also called Vidyasagar of South India, Kandukuri Virsalingam. So apart from the Hindu society, the reformers in the Muslim society also played an important role in uplifting women. Okay, for example, the Muslim women like the Begums of Bhopal, they actually played an important role in promoting education among women. Okay, they also established many primary schools for girls in Aligarh. Another notable Muslim women reformer is Begum Rokeya Sakawat Hussain. So she started school for Muslim girls in Patna and Calcutta, and not only this, she was also a critic, or she criticized the conservative ideas and conservative leaders. According to her, the leaders of every faith has considered women as inferior. Okay, so because of this contribution of all these reformers, now the women slowly started to uplift, or they were uplifted. They slowly started to become educated. As a result, they started to enter universities. Some become doctors, some become teachers, some become writers, and they started to write for the promotion of education among the women and also the importance of women in society. For example, Tarabai Shinde, she was educated at home in Pune, and she wrote the book Stri Purush Tulna, means the comparison between the men and women. Stri Purush Tulna. Okay, so now at the end of the 19th century, many women, they started to write magazines, journals, articles, campaigning for the women education, women rights and equality. Okay, and in the early 20th century, they also started to form many political pressure groups which actually fought for the rights of the women, such as female suffrage or the right to vote or the right to education or better health. So as a result, many of them also become leaders, and they played an important role in the national movement in the 1920s. Law against child marriage. So the next topic is law against child marriage. As we all know, child marriage was a prevalent tradition in the ancient India. Okay, and The Child Marriage Restraint Act or the Sarda Act was actually passed in only 1929, and this act fixed the marriage age for boys and girls. For boys it was 21 and for girls it was 18, and marrying before this age was considered illegal. So now the next topic is challenging the caste system. So as you all know, Indian manuscript and even religious text, ancient religious text, gives us a clear idea or information about the caste system. The caste system is actually based on the concept of Varna, and there are 4 Varnas, right? Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras. The word caste actually refers to Varna or in which a person is born. Okay, so now this caste system, it actually created discrimination and inequality in the Indian society. The people belonging to lower castes like Sudras, they were actually subjected to oppression, suppression, okay, and they were deprived of many opportunities, be it financial, religious or social opportunities. Not only this, they also faced untouchability, the practice of untouchability. Okay, Indian government or constitution has prohibited untouchability. However, it was practiced that time also, and it is also prevalent in some parts of India. Okay, so now with the spread of education, the many masses or people were educated, they become aware and they work to eliminate such evil practices like untouchability and promote equality among the Indian masses. Now the first topic under this topic is the caste reform movement in the Eastern India. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he is a very important reformer, okay, and he fought for the upliftment of the lower caste also, not only to promote education among the women or to fight against the evil practices like sati pratha, but he fought against the evil customs of Hindu society like the caste system, like the practice of untouchability, idol worship, superstitions and many more. And he worked for the social reform of India. And for this reason, he is also called the father of Indian Renaissance. Okay, so according to him, everyone should be treated equal, and we Indians, we should think beyond our caste identities, and we should work for upliftment through education and social reforms. So apart from Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar and Swami Vivekananda were 2 important reformers from the East India. Okay, they believe that the practice of untouchability is evil and they work to eliminate this practice. Okay, Swami Vivekananda even said that the Hindu text does not preach about untouchability. There is no mention of untouchability in the Hindu religious text. And according to him, a person becomes supreme not by his caste identities but by his inherited qualities or characteristics. Now, the caste reform movement in the Western India. So when we talk about the Western India, important reformers were Gopal Hari Deshmukh, Jyotirao Phule, M.D. Ranade and Ramabai. Now let us see Jyotirao Phule's contribution. So Jyotirao Phule was one of the vocal leaders belonging to low caste. Okay, he was born in 1827 and he studied in a Christian missionary school. As a result, he developed his own ideas about injustice of the caste system. Okay, he criticized and attacked the Brahmin claim, the claim that the Brahmin was superior to others because of their Aryan ancestry. Okay, so he criticized and attacked this particular claim. Apart from this, he worked for the upliftment of the lower suppressed class or untouchables, and he also established school to promote education among the lower class. So now the next topic is the caste reform movement in South India. So there are many reformers from the South India who fought to promote equality and eliminate caste system in India. Firstly, Kandukuri Virsalingam. He was also called the Vidyasagar of the South, and he started a journal that promoted the caste equality and also social reform in the Indian Hindu society. Apart from him, Chembeti Siddhanalu Naidu, he also protested against the caste system. Next comes the Sri Narayana Guru. he belonged to Ajava family, which was considered a low class family or untouchables by the higher caste people. So he acquired the Sanskrit education or knowledge, and this was not actually appreciated by the Brahmin because according to them the knowledge of Sanskrit was their actual right. Okay. In 1903 he launched the Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yoga, and this association constructed temples where there were no images or idols of any god, and people belonging to all castes were welcome to worship in this temple. He also advocated one god, one caste and one religion. The idea of one god, one caste and one religion. Lastly, E.V. Ramasamy Nayakar. He was also called Periyar, and he started the self-respect movement to fight against the evil culture or custom established by the Brahmins. Now we have come to the last topic of the chapter, the fight against untouchability. Firstly, we will see the role of Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi, being a leader of the freedom movement, he also played an important role in promoting equality among the Indian masses. Okay, he started a nationwide movement against untouchability. According to him, this evil practice of untouchability had to be abolished. Also, he called the oppressed people or the people from the lower caste Harijans or the children of God. He also established All India Anti-Untouchability League, and he also started a journal in English called the Harijan. So Gandhiji dedicated his life to uplift the oppressed class, and even after his death, the journal which he started also continued for many years. Now comes Bhimrao Ambedkar, the father of Indian Constitution. So Bhimrao Ambedkar started several journals to fight against untouchability and caste discrimination. He fought and wanted to end the practice of untouchability, caste discrimination and exploitation of Harijans. And between 1927 and 1932, he led a series of campaigns which aimed to give rights to the untouchable. And what kind of rights? Right to enter the temple and right to get water from the public well, which was prohibited for them. The people from the lower class could not actually enter the temple where higher class people used to go, or they could not drink water from the same well from which higher class people used to drink. So he aimed to get those rights. And in 1927, he started the temple entry movement. So with this, we have come to the end of the chapter. Now let us recall few important points that we have discussed in the lecture. So we all know the position or the condition of women in the 19th century was very miserable. So different reform movements or reform organization or association was established by the Indian reformers in order to uplift the conditions of women. For example, the Brahmo Samaj, the Pratna Samaj, the Veda Samaj, the Satya Sodhak Samaj, these and Ramakrishna Mission. So these organization or association, they fought for the upliftment of the women. Okay, and it was because of such reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Dayanand Saraswati, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, many evil practices in the Indian society was prohibited. For example, Sati Pratha was banned, widow remarriage was allowed, right? Child marriage was banned, Dev Dasi system was prohibited. So all these evil practices in Indian society was stopped, and the Indian reformers played a very important role in uplifting the women in the 19th and 20th century. So with this, I conclude our lecture here today. I hope this lecture was able to clarify a doubt regarding this chapter, and we will again meet in our next lecture. Thank you.